Welcome back to Marketing School. Today I will show you how to do account-based marketing with LinkedIn advertising. Before we jump into the platform, let's cover some basics. Account-based marketing, or short ABM, has essentially three different pillars. The foundation is one-to-many, on top of that is one-to-few, and on the peak is one-to-one marketing. So how does this relate to LinkedIn? First, one-to-many is very basic. It's your largest list of accounts you want to target. You may not even list the account names but rather have criteria in place, like industry, company size, growth rate, technology used, etc. This is your everyday LinkedIn marketing campaign. Where LinkedIn shines is the one-to-few advertising capabilities. Here you have your named accounts. This is where we will focus on in this lesson. The top of the pyramid with one-to-one marketing is not possible on LinkedIn. In that stage, the goal of your ABM campaign is to address single accounts or even functions or roles specifically. Due to the missing scale, LinkedIn can't execute campaigns like this. They need an audience size of at least 300 matched members. In order to conduct one-to-one account-based marketing campaigns, you will need specialized ABM software like Demandbase. Let's dive into the LinkedIn Campaign Manager. We have two different ways on how to target your ABM account list. The first one is by uploading a list and let LinkedIn do the heavy lifting. In the end, it comes down to your workflows and how prepared you are. For example, if you have a detailed list already, the matched audience is easier. If you just get started, the manual selection might be quicker and easier. Let's look at a list upload first. How this works is very straightforward. You upload a list of accounts or contacts and LinkedIn will match this against their database. You can do this once and the audience will update automatically. Of course, you can also add or remove companies by updating the list as well. To do this, we go to Account Assets within the Campaign Manager and select Matched Audiences. From here we create an audience. And select Company/Contact List Upload. LinkedIn needs you to follow their template to match the audience. You can download the company or contact template here. Before we do this, I want to quickly look at the requirements and best practices. For now, I want to focus on the company list. They recommend uploading at least 1,000 companies. In reality, you don't need that many, but think about that. LinkedIn needs at least 300 matched members in order to activate an audience. If you have companies in your list with different roles that are not relevant and you basically narrow it later further down, you need to keep this in mind. For example, your average law firm might have up to 20 employees, but you don't want to target the office manager. LinkedIn also recommends filling out as many columns or details as possible. Let's have a look at the template. It's very self-explanatory. When you download the template, it comes with the first example already. I added the second one. In my experience, you don't need to fill out the entire list. If you have the company name, website, email domain, and LinkedIn profile URL, you are good to go. Let's go through the Siemens example really quickly. I suggest that you match the company name as much as possible with the name that appears on the LinkedIn profile. I use Siemens as it is on the company page, not Siemens AG for example. The domain is also displayed here, and you can grab the company profile URL from the browser. For the email domain, I went to the website and double-checked it. As you can see, it matches. On the contact page they list Siemens.com. The next step is to go back to the matched audiences and upload the list. Give the list a name, select your file, agree to the terms and conditions and upload. One side note on the contact list, LinkedIn recommends to upload at least 10,000 contacts, but I also think that this can be less. Most likely you won't have to narrow this list further down. The best way to ensure a high match rate is to include the person's LinkedIn profile URL. I usually use company lists over contact lists because they are more dynamic. Of course, a contact list gives me more control, but if people switch roles or new people step up, I might miss out on those opportunities to reach the best contact. Anyways, let's look at what happens next. Here I have an example list that is already ready to be used. After you uploaded your ABM list, the status will be building. It's also helpful to see how big the audience size is and what's the match rate is. Again, usually the more you can use the LinkedIn profile URLs, the higher the match rate. When we create a new campaign and pick our campaign group, we need to select the objective. It doesn't matter what objective you pick, the audience selection works for every campaign and creative. I just use video views for now. Then we need to pick the country or countries we would like to include in the profile language. But this is where the magic happens. We want to apply our audience segment and therefore choose List Upload and then select the company list we've uploaded earlier. Keep in mind that this may take up to 48 hours before the audience is created and you can select it here. We can see a live forecast on the right, and based on the country and language settings we narrowed the audience down from 15,000 to 4,000 already. That's why it's important to upload a larger ABM list. At this stage, we can also define the target audience further and narrow it down by job titles, remarketing pixels like video views of previous campaigns or website visits, etc. You would choose your contact list here as well. Just go to the list upload and then contact list. Another cool feature is the insights LinkedIn provides you about the engagement of your ABM list. You can find this under Account Assets, Matched Audiences, and then select your company list. LinkedIn gives you data on how the companies engage with your ads as well as your organic posts. So regardless of whether you run ads on LinkedIn, this is valuable information for every B2B marketer. You can even update your account reps with the information. But please note, LinkedIn disables unused matched audiences after some time of inactivity. The second way on how to target your ABM account list is by manually adding each company. You can do this by going to the audience attributes. Then go to the company field and company names. Now we can build the list one by one. For example, type in and select Siemens. When it's ready. I'm not going through this in more detail, but you get the concept. There's one trick. You don't have to do this every time you create an ABM campaign. You can save an audience you've once created. Just go down here to Save Audience. You can do this also even if you upload a list but apply additional filters like job titles. In order to save it, just give it a name and a description if you want to. But one thing is very important to know. The saved audience is only saved to your personal profile, not the ad account. So if a coworker wants to pick up the audience, they will have to do another trick. Open an already existing campaign and edit the target audience. But don't do any changes, just save it. Then you can use it for your next campaign. If you want to select a saved audience, you can find this at the top. Just click here and choose the one you'd like. This will reset the current setup, so only do this if you start creating a campaign. One downside of the manual company targeting approach is that you don't get the insights into which companies have engaged with your ads. Therefore, I recommend using a list upload as soon as you see some first successes with your manual ABM account selection. These are the two ways on how to activate your ABM list on LinkedIn and only advertise to relevant companies that you've already researched. If you want to take this even further, watch the next video on how to build a high-converting LinkedIn funnel. And please leave a like if you learned something. That way I know it was helpful and I should create more content like this. See you in the next video.